Happy Thursday. Welcome to the media, Whit Merrifield. How you doing, Whit?
Great. How you boys doing?
Good. AJ, you want to check in from your parts unknown?
Well, no, I just want to know why Whit is in the closet. Like, we can't get lights in the closet? I don't understand.
His closet's cool, though.
It is a cool closet, but still, we need
This is
lights
my
in
locker.
the closet. Ah,
Yeah. We moved spots. This is my locker. I got all my jerseys from Little League to like my middle school football jersey, travel ball jerseys, all the way to college and then through the big leagues. Pretty cool. Yeah.
That is cool. I like that.
I think it's cool.
I see the Bryce jersey down there, too.
Yeah, I got a whole wall here of hanging jerseys. I got like AJ Pierzynski, Eric Kratz.
You got my microphone?
Yeah, exactly.
you don't.
No, I got some cool ones. I got
that.
Mahomes, I got Jeter, Ichiro, Ricky Henderson, Kershaw, Eric Hosmer, Joe Mauer. I got a cool wall here.
All right, so Whit, welcome to media. Welcome to Foul Territory. He's not here as a guest. He's here to guest host with AJ and myself. Great guest list coming up in a little bit too. But walk us through the retirement announcement the other day, the messages that you received about it, and from us, obviously, congrats, man. What a career, 3-time All-Star, and all kinds of accolades to go along with it.
Yeah, thank you. I've known that retirement was going to be in the cards since playing last year. It just wasn't the same for me. My wife and I's first child was born in March right in the middle of spring training last year, and just playing the year, I wrote in my little spiel that I was asked to put out, but I just wasn't. I'm not good enough to show up and play. And there had to be a lot that went into it for me to be successful. My focus had to be on it. All my energy had to be geared towards it. My preparation needed to be at a level different than other people's because, frankly, my talent wasn't on the same level as most people in the big league. So when my daughter came about, my whole focus was different. The game became harder because I wasn't as prepared. And I just knew that wasn't sustainable and that wasn't fair to me, to my family, to my teammates. And so really last year I kind of knew that was going to be the end for my playing career. And I was totally cool with it. The game is trending in a way that's going away from players like myself, which is fine. It's, games evolve and the way games are played and viewed evolve. And that evolution, unfortunately, wasn't good for me. But it's good for the game, I think. And so, I'm happy to be on this side now and don't have to worry about a scouting report. All I got to worry about is who we're talking to and what I'm talking to you guys about. I don't have to worry about sliders or two seams or splitters or anything like that. So it's been a great transition for me.
Yeah, dude, it's been a great run, and it's way easier on this side. Obviously, I don't have the playing experience, but take it from AJ or from anyone else, right? AJ's really good at, like, suddenly you watch the game, it looks a little easier, and you can spend, everyone's money a little bit easier to pick up players, right, AJ?
Absolutely. It's much easier. Trust me, the farther you get away from home plate, the easier the game is. You'll be sitting, I guarantee you'll go to a game sometime, you'll be sitting in your Lux suite that you'll get because the Royals will bring you back, or the Braves or the Phillies or someone for some sort of reunion thing. You'll be sitting there and be like, gosh, why couldn't that dude hit that slider? It was so easy when I played. Just never forget. I'll tell you this, never forget how hard it was, and never forget that playing baseball is the hardest thing in the world to do.
Oh, no, there's no question. And I don't imagine forgetting that anytime soon. And that was honestly another reason that I felt retirement was right for me it took me so long to grind to get to the big leagues. I don't think a lot of people understand like how difficult it was for me to kind of kick in that door. And then once I did, I had a good stretch of good play. And then the first kind of when I started struggling towards the end of 23 in Toronto and got benched, and then didn't get to play in the playoffs and didn't really get a lot of calls in the offseason as a free agent, went to Philly as a bench role. I didn't really have that drive to claw and scrap and grind my way back to being the player I was, because this game is so hard. And I spent so much energy getting to where I was, I didn't think I could do it again.
Two things. But do you think that, as a bench player, as a utility guy, it's harder to find a job because teams want to give it to the younger guys, and you can't have even a blip on the radar as far as your numbers go, right? Because they just want to get rid of it. They want to get rid of the veteran guys and want all young guys, because the young guys, we can pay them $750, or we can pay a Whit Merrifield a few million, and they feel like they can get the same value, even though I disagree totally with that.
Yeah, it's definitely a new way to view it, and I disagree along with you that there's so much that goes into being a bench role that the sheer numbers just can't quantify. I mean, as a bench guy, when you're not playing every day, one, you're right. You better get off to a good start and have a good base with good numbers, or you're gonna always be looked at as, this guy is not a good player. He's hitting $150, he's hitting 200. You might only have 70 at bats, and most guys go through stretches of 50 to 70 at bats where they're not playing well. And as a bench guy, those numbers linger longer because you don't get you're not in there as much, so you don't get a chance to build on that as much. But yeah, the value that a bench guy brings, you almost don't feel like you got to have the right mindset, because you almost don't feel like you're a part of the team a lot of times, because guys are running out there and playing every day, and you're just kind of off to the side. The guys are having conversations about what's going on in the game, and you almost don't feel like you're a part of it because you weren't in the game. And so you got to have the right mentality and the right kind of attitude towards being a bench guy, that it's a hard thing to do and a hard thing to have. And I've been teammates with guys that were incredible bench guys, and then I've been teammates with guys that weren't bad teammates or bad guys. They just weren't good at being bench guys. And so there is I don't want to say there is a special skill, because you got to be able to sit for a week and then go in and perform at a high level. But there's just a special kind of guy that can do it, and a really, really special kind of guy that can play every day and then transition to that role. And I wasn't that guy.
Okay, so I have two questions for you now. How much golf are you going to be able to play? And I guess this is kind of three questions. How much golf are you going to be able to play? Is your wife sick of you being home yet? Because that was the biggest thing once I retired. My wife is like, you got to get out of the house because you're driving me crazy. And then the last thing is, who's going to be a better broadcaster or media guy, you or your former teammate, Jackie Bradley Jr., who's doing stuff for SEC Network?
One, not playing as much golf as I would like to be. My daughter is very, she's awesome. She's so much fun, but she is a very high needs baby. She needs attention all the time. And so, no, my wife is not sick of me being home yet, because my daughter needs all sorts of attention. And Jackie's great. Yeah, Jackie's done a great job. I've gotten to listen to it a couple times. Jackie's a little soft-spoken, when I'm sure he'll come out of his show a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'd like to get a chance to call some games and see how that goes for me. But Jackie's done a good job, so it's a high bar for me.
And a little bit of this too. So we're just getting started. First test here with Whit. We'll see his interview skills. Jake Cronenworth is on the line, 2 minutes away. We'll do the TV break, bring everyone back, and then talk to the Padres slugger next on FT. Kratz, real talk. I do not carry cash around me, but what I do carry around on my phone is Cash App.
Easy peasy. Like I said before, anytime Scott can pay for the tab, that is good. And it's always right there. Fast, easy, always available.
Yeah. Oh, my credit card's not working, or oh, I didn't bring cash with me. There's no more alligator arms. Do you have your phone? Most people have their phone. So use Cash App. It's secure and safe. There's no waiting around. It is a super, super easy sign-up process. You can sign up quicker than you can listen to Kratz and I talk about Cash App. For a limited time only for the FT fam, new Cash App users can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real, no catch. Just download Cash App and sign up. Use our exclusive referral code TERRITORY in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Hey, a little news. Ronald Acuña Jr., recently back from a long absence, his second knee surgery, is going to do a little home run derby dance, AJ. He's the first one to officially be in.
Yes, good for him. And we had our first actual other guy say, Junior Caminero, but Acuña is going to put on a show. It's at home, too. That's the thing. It's in Atlanta, so they got to get somebody from the hometown team to do it. And who better than Acuña? I mean, we know this. I mean, the only thing is he's not going to be able to do his trot around the bases after he hits the homer, so it might be a little less entertaining than normal.
What do you
This
think?
guy's got more juice. This guy's got more juice than anybody that I've ever seen. I didn't get to take BP with him last year when I was with the Braves, but he was with me in 2018 in the Japan All-Star Series. We went to Japan when he was just a rookie, and I was like, this guy is just flipping balls out to left center like a to right center like a lefty, and he was righty, and he was like 19 at the time. Just easy juice. He's going to have a lot of adrenaline going playing or doing it in front of the hometown team, so I expect a big show from him.
Yeah, easy win there. You're like, as long as he's feeling good, back healthy, which he clearly is. I mean, he's been on a tear at the plate. The only thing you're not seeing from him is the amount of stolen bases. I think that's a given as to why we're seeing that right now. But besides that, I mean, he's been a monster his first month back. So we'll see Acuña at the All-Star game in the Derby. He'll probably be in the All-Star game too. We'll be there too. We're back, and so is Jake Cronenworth from the Padres joining us on FT for the first time. Jake, great to have you on, man. Thanks for the time. How's the season going for you?
It's been good. What's up, guys? No, it's been good, man. I think we're in a good position right now. It's been a fun year.
AJ, you just saw them, right?
I did. I just saw them play the Royals, Whit's old team. So I saw them play. The game I was there, the Padres won, I believe. They beat them. Cease went into the seventh. The Crone Zone. Did the Crone Zone have any hits? By the way, I want to know who started the Crone Zone. Was it Orsillo?
The Crone Zone did not have any hits that night.
Hey, that's an all-time nickname. Probably one of the best nicknames in the league. I love it.
No doubt. But I want to know where it came from.
I want to say it was Don Orsillo. Like, he's got nicknames for everybody, and you know how he is on the broadcast. He's just – him and Mudd are crazy, and they get on these tangents. And I think one day, like, I want to say in 2020, he just, like, somehow came up with it just randomly.
I love it. Now, does it get you free jumbo jacks, though? Because at one time it got you free jumbo jacks when the ball went into the Crone Zone. It did get me free jumbo jacks. Still getting free jumbo jacks? Oh, man. That's a bad agent. That's a bad agent right there. You got to get free jumbo jacks.
I think that was a one-year thing.
Jake, we got to congratulate you, newly married man. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Great.
Congrats to you,
great,
too, man. Awesome career, by the way.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Great baseball family, by the way. A lot of great baseball players in that. With your father-in-law, Gordon Beckham, your brother-in-law, your other brother-in-law, Brian Fletcher, who was my guy. That was my guy coming up in the minor leagues. So if you ever need any B. Fletch stories, I got you.
Oh. I'm definitely going to need some of those.
So did he DJ for you at your wedding?
No, he did not DJ. He was probably busy dancing way too much.
He's the best. Congrats to you. Brooke is awesome. Congrats to Brooke as well, and I hope you guys have a wonderful long marriage.
Thank you. Yeah, it is a baseball family, that's for sure.
Does your father-in-law? Does his father-in-law call him, though, and say, like, hey, you need to work on this when you're hitting, or do you need to do this when you're playing defense? Because he was a middle infielder, so now that you're a second baseman, right, he probably calls you up and says, Jake, we need to work on your footwork on the turn.
No, he's awesome, man. I mean, he's always during the holidays and just like random days in the off season or even during the season, just like text messages or even during the holidays, man. It feels like, the four of us, it's just baseball talk, 24/7 when we're at the house. It's pretty awesome. Him telling us old stories when he played, obviously Gordon telling stories, Brian telling stories, and me, and it's just an awesome environment.
Hey, have you talked to Gordon yet and said that you're the best player in the family? Make sure that you tell him that I said that you're a better player than he was, because I was there when he came up and he tried third. He tried third base. That skid didn't work, so then he had to become a utility guy. At least you've locked down first and second, and plus you're left-handed, better hitter, so you can pass that along for me.
I'll say Scott's probably the best player in the family. I mean, he played 15 years in the big leagues, so he's kind of got the one up on everybody right now.
Scotty, he's a legend. Hey, I got a question about your skipper. So Schultz, I mean, so he and I go way back. He started a travel baseball organization down in Charlotte, and so when I was playing coming up, we would play his team a lot. I got to AA. He was in Springfield, AAA in Memphis. Got to the big leagues. He was in St. Louis. So we've never been together, but have always been kind of along the same path. And he, as a guy that was on the other side, he always had this kind of reputation from guys that weren't on his team as, oh man, he wasn't a player. He's what does he know? He never got to play. And then the more you talk to people that played for him, all you hear is just the most amazing things about Schilt. And, a lot happened recently and he sticks up for his players. So I want to know what's it like to play for a guy like Schilt.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I think is his emphasis of, togetherness of the group. And he pairs that with the structure of our days. And, I think it shows the way we play. The group is super close. And I think you can see that in the games that we're playing. It's not like we haven't been blowing teams out a lot, but it's kind of like we're in these battles every night. We're winning 1-0 like yesterday. We're winning these close games. And I think that's something from last year when he was first hired to now, that's kind of stemmed into our play. And, you see it with the rest of our coaching staff as well. And, just how close the group is and how kind of in the same direction everybody is moving.
Yeah.
Schultz, great. I love it.
He's had success everywhere he's been.
I love
AJ,
Schultz.
what do you got?
Schultz hilarious when I go to his office. No, we go into his office and talk to him, and he doesn't even let us ask one question because he's like, all right, interview over. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. So he's the best. He's the best. Now, he'll get into it a little bit. But I want to go to your rivals a little bit, the Dodgers. We've had Max Muncy on here. We've had some Dodger guys on here, and they all say, the Padres, they're kind of not really our rival. But I was there in 22 when you got a huge hit against them to win that series in San Diego, and you guys beat them and sent them home. How do you feel about that rivalry? Because I feel like it's a great rivalry, and I've done Dodger Padre games this year. I love it. It's like the best atmosphere, especially in San Diego. It's the best atmosphere. I mean, heck, I was there for the Royals on Saturday. Y'all had 43,000 people every night. San Diego's got to be top 3 parks to watch, especially when Dodgers come in.
Yeah, I mean, it was sold out the other night against the Nationals on a Tuesday night. I mean, it's the fans there. I mean, obviously the weather and the stadium are amazing, but they show up every night to cheer us on. And I think, ever since I've been here, it just seems like every year it continues to just get better and better. And I mean, I think you see the way we play on the field as well, like that, them being there every night. And I mean, it's 42,000 just behind us. It's a huge advantage for us. But no, to the rivalry thing, I think, it was funny. I saw the clip of Jackson was on Mookie's podcast when we played them a few weeks ago. And I think they said it best, man. It's a rivalry, yes, but it's just two really good teams that just want to win and want to play good baseball, and they just want to beat the other team. It's not like this, those old Red Sox Yankees rivalries where it's like a fist fight every night. It's one of those rivalries. It's two really good teams with really good players on each side, And I think just the competitiveness of each side and each guy on the teams, like we just want to go out there and beat them.
All right, so I got to ask. There's a couple questions I have about this. One, do you hate the Dodgers? Do you hate the Dodgers as a player? Do you hate the? I mean, not saying you hate Mookie, but do you hate? Maybe do you hate the blue and the fans? Because I know as a White Sox, I didn't hate the Cubs players, but I did. Well, there was a couple I did, but I didn't. I hated more of like the thought of the Cubs, right? So as a Padre, do you hate the Dodgers? Not the players, because Mookie, Freddie, those guys are great. But I mean, do you hate the thought of the Dodgers versus the Padres?
That's a tough one. It's weird. I think if early in my career, maybe, but like now, I think it's like I've come to like, each team and each stadium we play in with their fans is so unique, and it's a different experience. Like I think everywhere we go is so cool. Like seeing how fan bases have their own team's backs. I think we've done a good job of like not saying, oh, we hate this team, we hate this team. We just want to go out there and win every night, like no matter who we're playing. Obviously, it is heightened more when we play them because they're in our division. And if we want to win the division, we gotta beat them. And I think that's just the hard truth.
Okay, so then Joe Kelly came on here yesterday on the show, and we asked him. I said, if you could play for the Astros, who he hates, the Athletics, the White Sox, the Rockies, or the Padres. The Padres were the first team he eliminated. He's like, Padres out. Even before we even got started, he's like, Padres out, right? And he ended up picking the Rockies. Out of those 5 teams, he said, I'd rather pick the Rockies than the other 4. So I don't know. I mean, maybe that's how Dodger guys feel about the Padres, some of them at least.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a person-by-person basis. Like, do I want to beat them every night? 100%. Like I want to go out there and beat them 10-0. I want to beat them 1-0. A win's a win. I don't know. It's a hard question.
Well, you got that, and then you got what Muncy said on here a couple days ago about how the Dodgers only have one rival, and it's the Giants. Which I know you can be political on here and say that, but that's gotta eat at you a little bit. It's got to be talked about in the clubhouse a little bit.
No, I mean, I think like you look at like history between those two teams, and yeah, it's way more significant, probably in the course of since they've been around. Like, yeah, those teams have had some huge battles, but I think for us, like as a group, like viewing like us versus the Dodgers, yeah, I mean, over the last 5 years, like it's been a battle every single year against those guys. We beat them in 22 in the playoffs. They beat us last year in the playoffs and go on to win the World Series. So yeah, I think between us two within the last handful of years, like that's for sure a rivalry.
Can I just say that you've been very politically correct throughout all these questions? No billboard material. Nothing. Those were great answers.
True. But before you go, now also I want to say this. Joe Kelly did say that he wishes the Padres and the Dodgers could play in the World Series because last year the 2 best teams were the Padres and the Dodgers, and he thought that was World Series worthy. So I mean, I know it won't happen because of the way the playoffs are set up, but I kind of agree with him. You guys were probably the second best team. And by the way, I hate to bring this up, but you guys had them. You had them. Yeah, I know it. It's baseball and you never know, but gosh, I thought y'all had them.
Yeah, that one hurt. I mean, that's I think everybody in our clubhouse, like the way we played in the second half, I mean, I'd never been around a group that was more confident going into the postseason than ours last year. And I think it was just the way we were playing, the way we matched up against teams that we were playing or potentially going to play in the playoffs, from a starting pitching standpoint, from a bullpen standpoint, which was, our bullpen in the second half was unstoppable. They beat us in those last 2 games. That was it, man. They matched up really well, and they threw their guys out there, and that was like the perfect example of like the old quote, "It's just baseball." Like that's gonna happen.
Oh man, I love the way that AJ Preller assembled the bullpen for that second half, the way he was trading for guys. I hope that more contenders kind of think about things that way. One more on the rivalry part, and I'm going to take you to a different rival that's not in your top three probably. The Washington Nationals were like, they said something along the lines of like fleeced on the trade with obviously Soto moving over to you guys. You spent some time with Soto. So your thoughts to that and how that era played out. And then I will actually point out the aftermath of how eventually the Pods trade Soto. One of the pieces that returned was Michael King, who's been a number one starter when he's on the mound, when he's healthy for you guys. So your thoughts on the little playful poke?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it in the moment, I think any team back in 2022 when you could have got anybody was on the block for Juan Soto, like when you have a player of that caliber and you have the ability to get him, as a GM, it's hard to say no. I mean, he'd been probably top 3 player in baseball since he had been in the league at the point, and it's like, man, we're getting a guy who's going to change this lineup from the minute he gets there. And you're not only getting him for, just after the trade deadline and he's hitting free agency the next year, you're getting from the next year as well. So it's like, you can say now, a few years down the road, like, oh yeah, the trade, this and that. But to your point, like, we got Michael King, we got Randy Vasquez, who's been incredible for us this year. Those pieces that we got, you look down the line, like we end up getting Dylan Cease, we end up getting these guys, and yes, the Nationals got 5 great players, and they're all probably going to have really good careers, and 3 of them are off to really great starts this year. It's hard to say, but I think the pieces we got in return are really, really good, and they've contributed for us in an awesome way.
Jake, is the NL West the best division in baseball?
Whew. I mean, this is my 6th year now, and since I've been in,
well, take out the Rockies. Take out the Rockies. The other 4 teams, the best 4. Take out the Rockies.
I mean, I would say yes. I mean, you look at the last, 5 years, I would say yes. I mean, we were in the NLCS in 22. The D-backs are in the World Series in 23. The Dodgers win the World Series last year. And you look at how competitive this division is. I mean, it's not just one team or 2 teams that are kind of just, taking over, those top 3 spots. I mean, it's those 4 teams, us, the Dodgers, the D-backs, and the Giants. Like, the Giants had 105 wins in 21. I mean, I would say, yeah. I mean, the starting pitching in this division is just outrageous.
Hey, I'm going to mix in one fan question here. So in our chat, they said, why does Don Orsillo call you adorable little second baseman? Our adorable little second baseman. No, it's Mud Grant. Why does he say that?
Yeah. I don't know. I ask him about it all the time, and he has no good answer about why it is. And he comes in the clubhouse and he's wearing his bucket hat. He looks like he's on the TV show Gilligan's Island, so I call him Gilligan. But I don't know. That he said that last year in spring training, and I was like, what does that even mean?
Wow. All right. So I got to ask before we have to let you go. What was a better year for you personally? Michigan wins the national championship in football, or Ohio State wins last year, but Michigan beats them in the big game. So which one makes you happier as a former Michigan Wolverine?
I would say the national championship year. Just we beat we beat Ohio State. I was at that game. That game was awesome. Like freezing cold, and it's always a noon game in Ann Arbor. Freezing cold. You get up at 7 a.m. to tailgate, and they had an interception with like 50 seconds left. Ohio State was driving down the field. They converted 2 plays for like 35 yards, and it was just like, what just happened? And then interception. And then I got to go to the national championship, which was awesome. And, I feel bad for Washington fans because at the stadium in Houston, it was like 75% Michigan fans. I mean, it was a Michigan home game. And then last year was so frustrating because the quarterback situation, we're playing a new guy every week. We're throwing in guys on different downs depending on the situation. But every year is a great year when we beat Ohio State. People can say, Ohio State fans can say, yeah, they won the national championship, but you didn't beat Michigan. And you saw it after the game, the huge fight on the field, guys are getting pepper sprayed. That's the rivalry, and that is the game, and it's the game for a reason.
By the way, first of all, who planted the flag? There was someone that planted one team planted a flag. Was it Michigan planted the flag in Ohio State? And then second of all, you want to know what Whit will never get to do? Celebrate a national championship in football. Sorry, Whit.
Big year. Lenore Sellers, Heisman frontrunner. Come on, big year.
You know what? I will say I remember sitting on the couch and watching South Carolina play Michigan in the Outback Bowl in Tampa, and Jadeveon Clowney laid the biggest hit I've ever seen in my life. I don't even think I was at Michigan yet. Actually, it was my freshman year maybe, and that was insane.
I was there. Yeah, I was in the I was like the end, kind of by the end zone, and you couldn't really, because the defense was in front of us, the offense was on the other side, and so you couldn't see the play. You just saw a helmet go flying. It was.
Yeah, the helmet went like 20 yards back towards the end zone.
Yeah, and the thing right before that play, there was a measuring, and Michigan was this much short, and they gave him the first down anyway.
Hey, I'm gonna cut us because we're coming right against break, but AJ's very happy we got some football talk in at the buzzer. Jake, this was great.
Just for
man.
Whit.
We'll have you back
I was
sometime.
at the 2006 Jarvis Moss blocked field goal too, by the way. Just FYI.
We can go an hour on this. Jake, awesome to have you on. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you for joining us. We'll get you down the road.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Jake.
Appreciate it, Jake. Enjoy Cincinnati.
Padres. We'll be right back. All right, let's charge. So the dream for some of you that like to troll the league of the A's and the Rays matching up in the ALCS, unlikely. But the Rays making a run in the playoffs could happen. They are off to an awesome start. And latest here from Ken Rosenthal, our FT senior insider, MLB and the Rays have engaged in preliminary conversations about where the team would play home games if the Rays made the playoffs. They only seat about 10,000 in George Steinbrenner Field, home of the Yankees exhibition and spring training action. So the Rays have been playing there. They're on an absolute heater. They sell out almost every game down there in Tampa. You don't have to hop across the causeway. That's been well documented on this show. But AJ, what do you think about the controversy here? Because if they do figure something out, then the Rays obviously are going to be pissed because they're going to be playing in a neutral site in the playoffs.
Where are they going to go? That's what I want to know. Where are they going to go? Where do they go? Do they go to Miami? But there's no Miami fans. Tampa fans are going to drive to Miami. Do they go back to the Trop? The Trop can't handle it, right? Do they go to Atlanta if they're not in the playoffs? That's the question. Where do you go? I mean, just keep them there. I'm sorry, it's going to hurt revenues for you guys, but you know what? It was a natural disaster. It wasn't like this was something planned like Oakland going to Sacramento so then they could hopefully get to Vegas one day. This was a natural disaster, hurricane. So this sucks for Rays fans more than anything, and Rays employees and Rays players and everything. Just not cool.
It's the league's call, though, Whit. As you know well, being on the rules committee, this is another one of those situations where the PA can get involved and the players can get involved with their take, right? And even the players on the Rays can be like, hey, we want to play in front of this crowd that's been supporting us all year. But it looks like there's a chance that the early rounds could be okay, but especially once you get to ALCS, if the Rays are there, it's almost definitely going to get moved for a variety of factors. Playoff share is obviously one of them, but the way TV sets up for those types of games, they have to give out for the World Series about 7,500 tickets, a little less for CS, but it's still thousands. So that's not going to work.
Yeah, it's just it's a sucky situation, especially in Tampa, because it's not really anybody's fault in Tampa. I mean, I guess you could say that they should have built a new stadium in Tampa years ago, but I mean, the Trop just got destroyed. It's not like Oakland where it was just mismanaged from ownership from the jump, but the Trop got destroyed. So it's like, what do you do? And then they've had to play at Steinbrenner Field, which again they've probably gotten better attendance than they would have at the Trop, but you're playing at a spring training site. It's not you don't have that big league feel to it. So I know those guys. I feel for those guys, and then you get to the playoff conversation, and the thing that's going to perk the players' ears up more than anything is the playoff share. If you don't have but 10,000 people that you can get into the gate, your playoff share is not going to be what it should be. So yeah, it's a weird situation, but like AJ said, if you go to Atlanta, you're going to have less than probably 10,000 people at that game. And if you do, they're not going to be really Tampa fans. They're just going to be there to watch a game. So it's not going to be a good atmosphere. And I wonder if they've kicked the tires down the road of doing something at Raymond James. I know there's an overlap with football, but I think that would be really cool if they could somehow figure it out that if Tampa got in, they could kind of like they used to do in Oakland and a couple other places where they would have the football and baseball, they would share. If there was a way you could have a makeshift baseball field in Raymond James, even if it wasn't the best field in the world, I would think that would be better than some alternatives
They
like
did
going
it.
to Miami or Atlanta.
They did it. By the way, the Savannah Bananas did it, and left field was like 200 feet. If not, even, it might not even have been 200 feet. It was like 180 feet to left or to right field. So, I mean, sure, I'm sure they would love it. Imagine Yankees, Rays, and Aaron Judge is like, oh man, it's 172 feet to left field.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, I mean, it's just it just kind of popped in my like that's an area in Tampa where you can pack people in and it's outdoors and you can do whatever. But yeah, if it's 180 feet to left, I mean, for me that wouldn't be. I could hit some home runs in the playoffs finally. So I'd be all for it.
I'll take the over in that game, whatever it's set at. I'll take the over. The last time the Rays were in the playoffs, which was 2 years ago, and then they had a run for that. I think they've made the playoffs in 5 of the last 6 years. So if you go to 2 years ago, 2023, they went a little bit viral in the wild card round. AJ, remember that? They were playing against the Rangers. Rangers dusted them and went on to win the World Series. The crowd for those 2 games, 19,704. And if you do the eye test, it was lower than that. And 20,198 at the Trops. And those were day games, but whatever. I mean, it's playoffs. It was a poor showing. I mean, obviously you're selling out in Tampa right now and it's still only getting you to 10,500, but it's not that much of a difference for the early rounds.
No, it's not. And the 10,000 there will probably feel better. It'll probably be a better atmosphere than 2/3 of the Trop full. So it's just like I said at the beginning, it's just a sucky situation. But I'm glad they're talking about it now. I'm sure they'll come up with the best solution that they can. Hopefully they listen to the people. Hopefully MLB listens to the players that are actually going through it and get a gauge from them as to what they want to do. And just kind of make do the best you can.
Well, you know what the league is really rooting for. I mean, just to be real, because on this kind of factor, it's not the biggest market and it's a mess this year. They're just hoping they don't make it to the CS for 1 year to get by. Because if they get to the CS, yeah, it's going to be the storyline that dominates. And the one thing to go against the natural disaster part is that place is like saran wrap covering it. I mean, I've been to the Trop. You've been there a million times, Whit. That place should have been retired 10 years ago. And they've been talking about a new ballpark for a quarter century. and they haven't figured it out. So finally, I think Mother Nature stepped in and punched them. I mean, obviously it was terrible tragedy that went down there with the hurricane, but it's like Mother Nature showing how frail that ballpark was and that it shouldn't be a major league ballpark anymore. Or at the very least, they needed to massively redo it. So I do blame, administration, league, ownership, the whole deal. And we've talked a lot about how Stu Sternberg is in exclusive talks with one group. There's another group making a bid. So hopefully that happens so they can move this forward, because now as a Florida resident, I want to see a better baseball setup. They're making Florida look bad right now. I mean, we could have a better baseball setup, whether it's in Tampa or AJ's favorite Orlando.
I think if this season shows anything, you got people showing up to a spring training park to watch a game in better numbers than was when they would go to a big league park at the Trop, or big league park at the Trop. So I mean, why this should be the deciding factor? Like, hey, look, it works. If we build a place in Tampa, people are going to show up. They'll have great attendance if they build a spot in Tampa. Tampa's a great city. It's a really cool city, and it's got a great outdoor vibe to it. And if you put a ballpark there, I mean, it would kill it. I don't get the hold up. I mean, money is always the hold up, but it would. I think you would as much as it would cost you to build. I think you would get that back and then some in no time if you built it in Tampa.
I'm totally with you, dude. I mean, we've talked about it a lot on here, and hopefully the new group can figure that out. Tampa's just probably not going to give the same amount of money towards the whole project, but who cares? I mean, look at the Lightning. It's been a great example there. All right, let's get to a couple things from last night. First off, AJ, are you back with us? Yeah, I think you're frozen, dude. We'll work on it.
No, I think I'm not.
Oh,
just for everyone's
because the
information.
group is boarding for New York.
Yeah. AJ is doing the show from an airport today, and it's also an international airport, outside the country airport. So it's not necessarily going to be the smoothest Wi-Fi. Daulton,
and he's pushed right up against the bathroom too, so you see people walking back and forth. We petitioned at the beginning of the show before on air to stop everyone that walked in and ask if they were taking the one or two, but we got vetoed.
Yeah, it did get vetoed, yes. But we do get nice cameos, a lot of video bombing throughout the day here from the airport there. So we'll see if we get AJ back. But what we'll also do is take a quick break, because your old teammate, Daulton Varsho, is ready to go next on FT.
My guy.
FT fam, did you know that Huel has sold over 500 million meals around the world, and now it is your turn to try it while I drink it.
Drink up, Scott, so I can discuss Huel and how I love it. I had some for breakfast this morning. I like to drink it post-workout because of the protein included in it. It always tastes delicious, whether it's strawberry, banana, chocolate, vanilla, whatever the flavor is. It tastes like a dessert, honestly. It should not taste as good as it does.
I agree. New customers get 15% off plus a free gift at Huel.com when you use the FT code. That is FOUL, F-O-U-L, at Huel.com/FOUL. Don't miss out. Try Huel today for a perfectly balanced meal. If you miss a meal, if you're looking for a little protein boost, you just saw me drinking the Black Edition ready to drink. There's the vanilla flavor. I love what the chocolate brings to the table. It's really damn good. So give it a shot, FT fam. 15% off plus a free gift for new customers with the code FOUL. I'm going to take a swig while Whit tells me about his former teammate, Zach Wheeler, who was dominating all year, really, but yesterday. Him and Ranger Suarez the last two nights were great against the Astros. They lost them both, though, because the Astros pitching has suddenly been on fire, too, and Josh Hader quietly is 21 for 21 in saves. But thoughts on those two this year?
They're everything that you want in a starting pitcher. They're consistent, they're calm, they're poised, they're nasty, they're durable. I know Ranger's been hurt at the start of this year, but I think it's maybe like one of the first times he's ever been hurt. So they're everything that you want in starting pitchers. They're clutch. They've both been proven to to be amazing pitchers in the postseason, late in the postseason. So can't say enough about them. And they're fun teammates too.
Yeah, we did the story the other day that I think Matt Gelb wrote on Zach Wheeler, Whit, and how he's not the biggest workout guy, huh? Not a big weightlifter.
No. Funny story about Wheeler real quick is when he signed his extension, he loves Raising Cane's, right? So we got a whole smorgasbord of Raising Cane's for him in spring training and had a big spread for him. And so when I left Philly and went to Atlanta, we were facing Wheeler. I went in Atlanta. I go to the Raising Cane's down the street, and I get a thing of Raising Cane's to send over to him before he pitches. But before I send it, I take a bite out of every single chicken finger that was in the box and send it over to him. Then he didn't like that very much.
That's great. All right, we're coming back in a moment with Daulton Varsho. He's going to join us. So we'll talk Blue Jays coming up in a sec. Also, just while we have you for a minute here, did you get to see Jacob Misiorowski and Paul Skenes face off at all? Have you seen the Miz and the stuff that he's got? And does it make you feel like, okay, I retired. Good timing.
The Miz makes me feel like I got out at just the right time, because these guys are just rolling in. It's crazy, the arms that are coming through the league now. And the Miz. The thing about the great with the Miz is he's got an idea where it's going. He's throwing 100 and he knows where it's going. That's probably why he's so successful. But that slider, I forget who it was, but that slider he threw in Minnesota to the lefty that almost broke his knee was just unfair. And yeah, glad I'm sitting over here now.
He outshined Skenes, which has happened probably twice in his 20-something starts so far in his career. I mean, not easy to do that. But Misiorowski's been insane his first few starts for the Brewers. And I mean, Milwaukee's been okay this year, but the Cubs have been, best in the division. I mean, a guy like that could change the playoff race when you've got Miz going, every 5 days or so. So it's pretty impressive. It looks real. And they let him marinate for a little bit though. Whit, he actually did have trouble throwing strikes his first couple of years in the minors. It was all over the place, but he's also 6 foot $1 billion.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said,
I think we lost Whit. Just me for a moment. Let's see if we can get Whit back. And AJ, we're having a party here right now. What a blast. But anyway, I mean, the Miz was insane. He did outshine Skenes in terms of Skenes going 4 innings, giving up 4 earned runs. And for Misiorowski, it was 8 punch outs, 5 innings for him. And that place was sold out to the brim. Day game, Wednesday afternoon game. Very impressive. We're going to get to Daulton Varsho coming up in just a sec. We'll bring Whit back on. So there we go. Whit's back. Sorry, we lost you for a sec there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
We lost you for a sec there on Miz. But where were you on Miz?
Yeah, I was just saying that every 5th day the guy gets to pitch, and it's a bolt for the team. But also they're 4 days. That's a different energy to the team, than knowing that you have a guy like that in the rotation. And when you have a guy like this short little stubby guy that we just got on in center field, it just what a boost that brings to any team. Even if he's got one hamstring and I mean, just look at that cute little face. He's just an absolute boost to have in any lineup.
We've got Daulton Varsho from the Blue Jays joining us right now. Daulton, great to have you on, and welcome to the debut host day for Whit Merrifield. Perfect timing. How you doing, man?
Doing awesome. I'm just down here in Florida soaking up the sun right now.
There you go. Did you like my intro of you, or Whit's better of you?
Wits is probably just a little bit more mean. But, I mean, that's just Whit. I mean, if you play with him, you know exactly. It's just, you got to give it right back to him.
What was your scouting report of Whit as a teammate? And actually, he was just telling us some crazy story about how he took a bite of all of Zach Wheeler's chicken fingers. So did he do any of that crap with you guys?
He was definitely like the big brother that wanted to be the big brother, but definitely was like the little brother that did all the pranks. So you just put him in a headlock and you put him back in his place and you're good.
Me and Daulton used to wrestle, and Daulton was so mad that he was a wrestler in high school, and he's lower to the ground, and he's more sturdy, and I would still take him down. And now, congratulations, Daulton. Daulton's a new father. He's got a daughter, so now he's even softer than he was before. So Daulton, when I come back to Toronto, you got no shot.
Yeah, the girl dad definitely is definitely a big thing of where you kind of take a little bit on the softer side. But if Whit comes in the clubhouse, I think another wrestling match is probably good. But if he stays away from the left hamstring, we're good.
So
Exactly. There you go.
So how long, Daulton? How long have you been sidelined now?
Since June 1st.
Do you think if you'd had a boy, you'd be back by now?
Probably
Or
not.
because you had a girl, you're
Just
extra
because
soft now?
Well, the girl, I mean, she just lays in the arms and falls asleep. Boy, you actually have to probably follow around and have to pick them up, put them back down. So, but she is a big girl, so I'll give her that. She is the full weight and full length of, but I don't know where she gets that from. Not from me, but hopefully it's on my wife's side.
She'll probably have good hops. That's in the genetics.
Hopefully.
So, what's the timetable? What do you got for us?
Obviously we're kind of ramping up here with a leg. Think running bases this next week again. Tweaked it a little bit on Monday. So just kind of shut it down. Got an MRI. Everything looks fine. Going uphill a little bit. Inflammation's still in there, but still doing lives, defense. Just waiting to kind of be able to get up to that 100% running speed, and when that's able to go, I'm good to go on the rehab assignment.
Okay, so I'm assuming you've been able to watch every game, right? You do your rehab, all your work, and then you're watching most of the Blue Jays games, especially at night. What do you
Yep.
think? I mean, we're at June 26th, so the last few weeks they look pretty strong. They vaulted themselves into a really good race for either a wild card or for a division spot, as the Yankees have taken a step back too.
Yeah, I mean, just watching the games, I think early on for us, the problem was that we kind of let the media kind of bleed in a little bit of like we needed all this power. And if you watched our games early on, we played a lot of small ball and we were able to move runners, do all the little things right. And when that was able to happen, it was just so fun to watch because that's what we were doing in the spring. And so the way that we've been playing now, like we're hitting a little bit more homers, but that's coming on mistakes on the pitching side of just being able to kind of take advantage of that. And we ran through a good chunk of time where we were facing really good teams and their pitchers were on. And sometimes that happens. And just honestly now, just watching the games, we're doing everything right. Pitching's great. Defense has been awesome. And we're just obviously hitting a little bit more homers. And it's working out for our team. And it's been really fun to watch, even though that I'm here. But when I was back there, it was so fun to be with that team because we were doing a lot of little things right.
Daulton, let me piggyback on that because when I was there, starting in 22, the year before you got there, I felt like probably the biggest crutch that Toronto was holding Toronto back at the time was their full lean on sole analytics and just doing things by the analytical book. Based on the way you were just talking about the small ball and stuff, has that feel softened a little bit?
I would say so. I mean, we've been the last couple years I've been here, a lot of the kind of emphasis has been on base running and defense. And honestly, when Kevin Kiermaier was here, he was out in center, I was in left, George was in right. You spent a little time in left when I was in center. It's just like there was no ball that was hit that like we couldn't get to. So that also helped because I mean the pitchers were able to then here's my pitch, go hit it. And so obviously adding a guy like Max Scherzer where like he's able to move me now, and we've had these conversations when I was kind of hurt and coming in through spring where I wasn't able to play defense, but he's like, hey, I'm going to throw a pitch here. I'm going to move you for one pitch, and then you go back to where the card kind of tells you. So it's honestly great to have guys like that because then you're able to play defense in a total different way and just more aggressively to what the pitcher's doing. And so I think that's where our kind of gotten better, especially with our infield play this year. And you've got guys like Ernie Barger who've kind of gone into third base and have excelled a lot really there. And now you have a platinum glover and Jimenez at second, helping Bo at short, and then you got a gold glover of Vladdy at first. So I think the defense and the base running part is what has made our team a ton better.
How much did you love me playing left besides you, Daulton?
I really want to find that play where you threw your glove up when I called you off on that ball. Like me and George haven't found that play yet, but I'm waiting to find it so that I can just create it into a meme so that you guys can use it all the time.
I hated the outfield. I hated it, and they kept running me out there. And I just, I wanted to make it fun, and so I just wanted to mess with you when I was out there.
Yeah, because you were at least a little bit good at it. I mean, you could play a little bit, and they needed you to play out there every once in a while.
I just want to be close to you, Daulton.
You're up, AJ.
Daulton, when Whit was out there, did you know I have to cover the whole outfield? Like you couldn't just cover center field, or what was it, the catch you made like this behind your back, right? You also knew you had to cover the whole left field, and you're like, all right, George can cover right, but I'm just left to center, and I got the whole thing.
For the most part, you just had to make sure Whit was paying attention when the pitcher was throwing the ball, because he was always looking in the stands trying to see who was out there. And so all the time it was like, Whit, you got to move over. And so like I was the one that was moving him. He's like, what? And so, but no, it was fun. I mean, we always had a fun time when there's always pitching changes. We always fool around with each other out there and made fun and just waved at the crowd and stuff like that. And they always made fun of me. I was the little brother to both of them, so it was always fun for me being out there with both of them because they made me feel just so welcome, and it was just always fun out there. It was just one of those things where you just like guys because they treat you a certain way.
Hey, so you've got a real old man on the team right now who just made his return. I know he did the start early on this year, and then he got himself right here. How's it to have Max Scherzer back on the mound for the boys? And it looked pretty good. Velo looked pretty good. I think he topped out at 95, and then heard that he felt okay after the start. So that's a nice boost for the rotation, right?
Huge boost. I mean, just having another consistent arm, being able to go out there and throw in 5+ innings. I mean, he looked great. I remember. I mean, I was facing him here when I originally got hurt, and he looked really good, and everything felt good. So that was kind of the biggest thing, is having him after his start feeling good. So it will be a huge boost for us. I mean, he's just another guy that can help all of our younger guys to be able to develop and understand things, and he's just different. Like there's a reason why he's pitching until he's 40, is just that he's so successful being able to make pitches look very similar and being able to be successful with that, just being able to pitch. And that's what's so fun to see, is like a guy who doesn't always have like 97, but he's able to pitch off of it. And so, I mean, you guys were talking about before, the Miz kid, he's actually pitching at 100 miles an hour, which is unbelievable, because it's just like now you see a lot of throwers in this game and you don't see as many pitchers.
So Max comes on this show every once in a while, and it's usually like an hour. I mean, most of the time we do our player interview, it's like 10, 15 minutes. But Max, we got to block out like an hour. And I know that makes sense to you. We had Schneid's on the other day too, and he's like, yeah, once a game, like if he's in town, and he's not rehabbing, I got 30 to 60 with him. He pops into the office. So any Max combos that you had that you can take us inside? Because I know he likes talking ball too. Like, hey, he's almost like if I were commissioner kind of guy.
Yeah. He is the definition of like an analytical person that can talk baseball. And I think that's what's so cool about him, is that he knows exactly what the hitter wants to do. So he's able to move guys in certain places to be able to do it. So we talked every day when I was up there, because he was there still rehabbing, but he was moving me in the outfield, just because like our cards are placed in certain spots, but he knew kind of like how Bassett wanted to throw. So he kind of knew, okay, let's put you over here. So like there was a big one with like Riley Green, where like a certain count, he's like, hey, get over to that gap, because that's where he hits a lot of balls into this count. And so it's kind of cool to see, of like having an adjustments from pitch 1 to pitch 2. And obviously you see that in center field of what guys want to do, but obviously to kind of go through all the information in the analytical part and being able to make the adjustment so fast.
That's what veterans are good for. Daulton. So you got a couple, I guess, veteran guys, Bo and Vladdy. They've kind of gotten going here a little bit once a season. How good can they be? How good can this duo be for the Blue Jays?
I mean, I think for the 3 years I've been here, when they're both going really well, I mean, Vladdy brings the power and Bo just gets on. And so now you see Bo kind of tapping in a little bit of that power, where it's just like, it's just happening. I mean, we all know as hitters, like, we don't try to hit homers. When you do try to hit homers, that's when we kind of go into the spiral spin of like, all right, what am I doing again? And so when Bo's hitting these homers are all an accident, and it's just like, all right, now you got to deal with Bo at the top and Vladdy at third. And honestly, the move of Barger hitting second was huge. I mean, to be able to put a lefty in between those guys, I mean, it's just now it's tough because now you got three guys in a row where it's like Barger's going to take his hacks, Vladdy's going to take his hats, and Bo's going to get on. So it's really cool to kind of see kind of the momentum that we've kind of created as a group and being able to win a lot of ball games and doing really well.
Hey, what did you think of Vladdy's extension? And obviously, you guys are going to be teammates for a while now. Do you try and like poke him to take you out to dinner or do something a little more often? I mean, maybe off season, a little boat hangout, something like that. He's certainly got the cash flow to be able to take care of you these days.
Yeah, he's just a normal, like he is the definition of a kid that's stuck in an adult's body. He is the ultimate kind of prankster. He's just like one of the best teammates. I mean, he's always happy go lucky. He's just one of those guys where he deserves it because he's played really well and he's done and showed everything that he could, and he doesn't take the money for granted because he's still going to play hard every day. I think you see kind of that trap a little bit where guys get the money and he stops working. And I think that's a total opposite for him, to where he's trying to get better and trying to be the best version of himself. And you're seeing it now. I mean, it's not all power anymore. And now he's like taking his walks. He's moving runners. He's just doing everything right that you want your $500 million player to do. And so it's really cool to see. And I try to get on him every once in a while, just like with a base running part, because I feel like I can help him with that. But other than that, I mean, he's just an ultimate teammate.
Dalton, I don't know if many people know. I mean, I'm sure most people do that know you or follow the Blue Jays, but you used to be a catcher, and I know that you loved it. When you were catching, that takes up all your time. And now you're such a good defensive center fielder, probably the best in the league. How hard was that transition? Were you able to do some center field stuff when you were catching? And how long have you been doing both of those things?
Yeah, so I started playing a little outfield in 2019 when I was in Jackson, Tennessee in Double A. And that was kind of the time when we had Carson Kelly and Stephen Vogt in Arizona. So the way kind of for me to get to the big leagues was to be able to play another position and kind of give the depth of kind of being available to be able to catch and also play all three outfield positions. So obviously when I got to the big leagues, it was kind of playing a little bit more left and center, not really right. And then Alec Thomas got called up and I got moved to right. And so starting to play all three positions, I figured out my footwork and all that stuff to be able to kind of do really well out there. But the hardest part was when I had to catch to start the game and then go play outfield because you're so exhausted from catching for like 7 innings. And it's like, hey, go run out for the outfield for the rest of the innings. And so that was always the tough part of just the body wise of adjusting to that period because it's more up down and it's not really side to side as much for like sprinting wise. Um, that's kind of what was hard just because it kind of took a toll on your body a little bit. But other than that, I mean, there was a time where I caught 30 games and then all of a sudden I was like, okay, go play outfield the rest of the year. So obviously there was times where like I could do outfield stuff, but when I was catching, I was kind of basically catching at that point, and it's like, all right, go play outfield and go be an athlete.
How bored do you get? How bored do you get being an outfielder? Because I know this as a catcher, only caught. If I had to go stand out in the outfield, I would have been like, oh my! I would have been like Whit out there. I would have been like looking and, oh, look at the butterfly. Oh, I'm gonna pick the flower. Like, how bored do you get when you go from catching to the outfield?
I actually don't get as bored. I think it's a less stressful position, but I still obviously still follow kind of how our pitchers are pitching, and I still kind of have that part of my brain moving of like, all right, when I see Bassett throw inside two seam, is he going to back it up and double up, or is he going to throw a cutter or something off of that? So I'm always still kind of playing kind of catcher out there of kind of like what the pitcher's pitching and how I'm going to be able to kind of move and kind of cheat a little bit. So I think that's one of the coolest things. Like that part of my brain hasn't shut off, and I hope it doesn't. but just kind of trusting that I can be able to kind of stay out there and obviously try to get the best jumps I can. And so I'm trying to cheat as much as I can.
Do you ever wish that you could still do it, like that you could still do both? Now with the Jays, you're like, yeah, I'm happy I just got one gig, especially as you get older, and yeah, it probably makes it a little easier to focus on the bat at times too, right?
Yeah, I think I had enough foul tips and backswings to the head that I'm good of not going back there. But obviously, I'm still the emergency guy. So there was a couple times the last 2 years when the next inning was going to be Romano, and I'm like, oh gosh, I have to catch him. All right, how am I going to do this? And so like I'm asking Kirky and Danny Jansen. I'm like, all right, what do I need to call here? What do I need to do? Trying to figure out the scouting report all in like 2 minutes. And so I'm kind of good on that part of where I don't have to coddle pitchers anymore. I can just go be a defensive player and go enjoy the outfield with the boys.
Love it. All right, I got one more for you. George Springer, another man who's been around the game for a minute. Actually, bring Whit in for a sec. Whit, do you remember? Because the connection with you and me obviously is the Cape League. And shout out to John Schiffner, your manager there, who's bench coach at Wareham now, or sorry, at Brewster now. Wareham is where George Springer was, though. So Whit, you and George go way back, no?
We do go way back. Yeah, we go so far back. He probably had hair when we were playing against each other in the Cape. Like, that guy is two haircuts away from being full on bald. I saw him the other day. It's not good, Daulton. Tell him it's time.
Cut his hair. I told him it's time. I get to actually buzz his hair when it's time. He's agreed to it.
Good.
Wow. Okay. So where's the fountain of youth for him coming from this year? Obviously, he's had a big year.
Yeah, our new hitting coaches, David Popkins and Lou Ionati, they really kind of unlocked some things for him of just telling him just get your A swing off. That's all we need you to do. Get your A swing off, and whatever happens, happens. And so you'll see a couple times where he lands on his knee, but you know that he's getting his A swing off and he's trusting everything that he's going into it. And you saw the grand slam the other night. I mean, it was awesome. Like, just to be able to see him kind of back to who he was, because when I was catching, I mean, I was having to face him in the Astros lineup, and it was like, man, how do you get any of these guys out? Because they're one, either taking hacks, or two, they are backing that ball up and they are crushing it opposite field. And it's like, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to call. So obviously seeing kind of that side of him when he was younger and being able to do that stuff, and now seeing it again, it's so cool. And I get a front row seat to it, and I get to ask him a ton of questions of kind of just picking his brain and being able to kind of better myself.
All right, here's the big finish. You got something? Show and tell, Whit?
Well, we were talking about Daulton catching, and it was funny because his first spring training, it was like we had this Jays Care presentation, and it was like they knew that, or they were trying to show Daulton as a catcher and try to foreshadow, hey, Daulton, we might need you as a catcher. And they put this picture up, and it was just cute little Daulton catching in his cute little mask. I mean, look at that face. That is cute little Daulton Varsho right there in his mask. This was like a couple weeks into knowing Daulton, and we're already giving him a hard time about just being this cute little guy.
He does look like.
It does. See?
What?
It looks just like Daulton, doesn't it? It looks just like Daulton. Doesn't it, Daulton?
Hey, the funny thing is about me catching, MLB posted something about Fernando Tatis hitting 3 homers in a game, and I was the catcher, and I'm like, man, I feel like that was so long ago, and I was like, I gave him 3 homer pitches. Man, that is not good on me.
Bad fingers. Well, bad buttons now. Not fingers anymore. Now it's buttons.
And you don't have to worry about it anymore. All right, we got one more piece of video to show you on the way out here. All the show and tells coming in hot. We got a catch. Oh, here we go. All right, walk us through this one. How do you do this? Tell the kids.
You get really embarrassed. You trip over your feet, and you still how to figure out some way how to catch it. So obviously, not really something you want to practice or want to do, but all those times of probably just falling over and trying to figure out how to be successful kind of helped. Somehow, some way, I saw the ball coming down. Just kind of guessed where it was coming, and stuck my glove out and it went in. I was like, oh, thank the Lord.
All those times I threw you on the ground, Daulton, they paid off.
Yep. I mean, just making sure that I can put you in a headlock still. One of these days, you're going to be back on that ground in the Toronto clubhouse.
I'm gonna spend all my free time taking up wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Put you in a pretzel when I come see you.
Whit's gonna get jacked. You can do whatever now. You could do.
He ain't gonna get jacked. He's got too much time with his little girl.
That's true, and golf, which is not gonna make you jacked. But Dalton, this was great, man. Thanks for joining us here for the first time. Awesome to have you. We'll have you back at some point. And how do you think Whit did on his questioning?
I'll give him like a C+. Thought I was gonna get a little bit better questions out of Whit, but I'm a little hard
Get
to
healthy,
grade on
Dalton.
Whit.
Get healthy. You got too much time.
Incredible. Thanks, Dalton. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate it.
buddy.
Thank you, guys.
And speaking of grades, actually, we're going to do first half grades for the AL coming up next. Well, if you're a normal human, you can't speak English to your pup. But what you can do to understand what they love, which is spot and tango on kibble, is to see how they react when you put the unkibble in the bowl. And my pup, Penelope, loves it. So does Bella.
Well, Bella speaks Spanish, so she says, muy bien. I love this stuff.
She says, wow, Dad, thanks for creating a custom plan based on my age, weight, breed, and activity level. You nailed it. And also, it's made with 100% whole fresh ingredients like real USDA meats, fruits, and veggies, but it's 40% less expensive than frozen food. So upgrade your pet's bowl with Spot and Tango Unkibble. And for a limited time, go to spotandtango.com/foul and use code FOUL for 50% off your first order. That's spotandtango.com/foul, code FOUL to get 50% off your first order. All right, we got 2 minutes, and then we're actually going to talk to Dan O'Dowd. We'll do the grades after that. Jacob deGrom was awesome yesterday, so I do want to shout out him dominating and also the durability we're seeing from him, AJ. We haven't heard about any hiccups so far.
Would he have, if he didn't give up the hit, would he have been able to finish that? That's what I want to know. We'll never know, but he was into the seventh. He was only in mid-80s pitches. Let's say he goes 1, 2, 3 in the eighth. Does Bochy run him out there for the ninth? I don't know. That's the question, but he's nasty. I mean, he's like the old Jacob deGrom from like 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago. And, you know, people are like, oh, his velo's down. Listen, he was still throwing 99 to 100 in that seventh inning last night.
Yeah, I think they would have let him eat just based on you know, he's in his mid-30s, might not have another chance to do that. And I think it was 89 pitches. So, I mean, it could have gotten dicey real fast. They might have taken 125, 130, but
what's amazing is that was his deepest no-hitter he's ever gone. You would have thought Jacob deGrom would have been into the ninth, eighth, ninth before. That was the deepest one he's ever had. That's what's crazy to me.
Yeah. I haven't seen him in a minute.
This is what Texas signed up for when they signed up to get him. The question has always been his durability, but when he's healthy, he's always been who he is, and that's an elite pitcher.
Yeah, he is definitely still that guy. And on the other end, the Orioles have been no hit through 7 innings, I think 3 times in the past week, and through 6 innings, I think 4 times in the past week. So they're going through it again. They're 12 games under, so they'll be hot sellers, which leads us perfectly into Dan O'Dowd joining us in 10 seconds. Longtime Rockies GM, former GM Dan O'Dowd joining us back on the show here on Foul Territory, and we're excited. He's got some great news he's going to share with us about Win Reality, which he's a big part of as a founder, and how they bought Blast Motion. First, a little trade talk to get the people excited. Dan, great to see you. How you doing?
Hey, great. Hey, before we get started, I just want to, I didn't know Whit was going to be on the show until I actually read the email here a little bit ago. And hey, Whit, I just want to congratulate you. You know, I don't know if you heard yesterday on air, I also congratulated you on the network just for an incredible career. I mean, I just loved watching you play. A 9th round draft pick, you know, that just got so much out of your ability day in and day out. You did everything right in the game. And I just want to make sure that, I just want to let you know, I mean, you were really a pleasure to watch compete.
Oh, thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. That means a lot.
All right, Scotty, fire away at your trade questions, guys. Go ahead. What do we got here?
All right.
What are we
No,
working
no,
on?
no, no.
Absolutely. Well,
No, before we get into trade questions, I got to ask about the Rockies because I want to know how the heck you work for the
You
Monfort
do that
for all
every
those
time I
years.
get on air. You ask me.
I
about
know,
the
because-
subject.
Because they're 17 and 51 or whatever I got to look what they are, but they got like 17 wins. I mean, what?
Yeah, I
man,
think
what do you
last
expect?
night
I mean,
they
you
tied
actually
for their worst start after that many games with I think the Washington Club in 1904. So it's been a while since the team had this bad of a start. Hey, I think when you look at the Rockies, I haven't been there in 10 years now. So although I was a former GM, it was a long time ago, former GM. So I think when you get to this position, one, you've had a lot of bad luck. The game is based on skill and luck, but the reality of it is they've made a lot of bad decisions over a long period of time to put themselves in the position they're in. I don't think it's one decision in particular. I think it's layering decisions because that's kind of what a front office's role is all about. Is you just try to make good decisions every single day, and then you layer those good decisions on other good decisions, and then you look up and you've got a good team with a well-run organization. I think they just have made a ton of bad decisions over a really, really long period of times, and I don't think it's an easy fix in any way, shape, or form the position they're in.
if you did have to try and fix it, Dan, to try and put simple terms, because I know you could do hours on this, do they need to find help from other places? Do they need to do
Yeah,
things
I'm
differently
torn
than
on that,
everyone else?
Scotty. I
Okay.
do think, I think it's good to refresh your people. I just think it's healthy. I mean, I probably in reality should have left 10 years into my job. I think I outstayed it by 5 years. And ultimately, I think that hurt me within the game from a availability and a reputation standpoint. So I do think there's like expiration dates with jobs. So I do think it's good to get best practices outside of your organization. It's that you're just dealing with such a unique environment there with altitude that unless you've lived it and understand it, like you can conceptually think you know it, but until you working in it day in and day out and see how that particular environment affects every aspect of personnel decisions and the way the game's played out in the field. So ideally, you'd find somebody that had experience in it, then left and learned a bunch of things, best practice wise, somewhere else that would be available to come back and now run it. But I think even the best GMs of the game that are recognized would have a significant learning curve going in there from scratch and taking what their best practices are to an environment where some of that might be applicable, most of it would not be. Does that make sense to you?
No doubt. Yeah. It's still right. No matter what, to me, like to simplify, it's not a quick fix to go back to what you're saying. You want to get outside help? It's still going to take a long time to get adjusted to a place that's
Yeah, I
just
look
not
at
like
it now,
anywhere else.
it's like an expansion. You're taking over like an expansion situation. Hey, man, they're wonderful opportunities. They just come with, you're going to have to be very patient and you're going to have to look at victories in a different way. And you're just going to have to be really understand what you're getting yourself into. And I think it could be a great opportunity for someone if they just, and if ownership and the people involved really understood what they were buying into.
Dan, you talked about the altitude. I got a question on that. When you look for players, how does that affect the type of player that you're looking to sign, especially when it comes to pitching?
Yeah. Well, let me just jump into the position players first, Wick, because I think it's a really fascinating discussion. And guys, I'm on no time frame here. I got plenty of time as long as you guys do, because this whole
Yep.
thing could take the rest of the afternoon. So you're playing an environment where you say you play a 6-game homestand, you get a lot of at-bats in that place because of the ballpark. So you get 5 at-bats a game. You're going to see maybe 30, 40, 50 pitches a night. You're going to swing at 50% of those. And so hitting is a muscle memory sport. It's a part of your cerebellum that you wire every time you see a pitch over and over again. So you're recognizing specific patterns of ball flight. That's how you hit. Now you go on the road and you see the same pitches, you take the same swing, and the ball is now moving millimeters differently because there's no movement at home. So now there's movement on the road because movement's created when you throw some kind of object against mass air. Well, there's no mass in Colorado because you're a mile above sea level. But when you go on the road, you're now hitting in mass. And so I think that's where like guys who have elite bat to ball skills, guys that can use the entire part of the field, guys that have good pitch recognition skills, and players that aren't gonna like cave. Like I gave you an example. And Jeff Cirillo's retired, so I can hammer him a little bit. But he's really dear friend of mine. I love the guy. Jeff was an incredible hitter in his career. When I acquired him from Milwaukee, it was for that same reason. And he came to our place and he raked. But then as the season went on, when he tried to make that transition from raking in cores to hitting on the road, mentally it became a real struggle for him. And it wasn't pretty by the end of the year. So you just never know how a player's going to react to failure in a way that he can't control the failure. It's just a human dynamic of where you play. Same dynamic exists for pitching. So you need strike throwers, guys that can have power sinkers are certainly good. Guys that command vertical fastballs up are good. Guys that have really hard sliders are okay. Breaking ball's not good there. Changes are okay there. Cutters can work there. But again, you're not going to get movement at home. And then you're going to get maybe 25% more movement on the road. So a starting pitcher has to adjust his repertoire between pitching at home and pitching on the road. And it's a physical issue that quickly become a mental issue because the game is so challenging mentally.
Dan,
You're good,
I want to
AJ.
know this. Would you rather have guys that throw sinkers or guys that can get fly balls and weak contact up in the zone?
Hey, Jay, as long as the sinkers are power sinkers, it's like Aaron Cook, who had a lot of success there. I mean, when he was right and healthy, it was 94, 95 with really late tunneling, sinker movement. That works. And then you had a kid like Jeff Francis. Not that necessarily Jeff threw hard, but he was very deceptive and he lived at the top of the strike zone. And then he worked a slider off of that same line. He had success there. So I think you want both. You just don't want guys that live in the middle of the plate in that place.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do, Dan. Just so we get a little extended time here. If you can, with us 2 minutes, so we can hit our TV break. You know how all that works. So we can then finish up. We'll do
I'll
trade.
come right back
and
after
I wanna
that.
talk
Yeah.
Win Reality Blast. Yeah, to give us 10 more minutes. Okay, cool. So FT fam, be right back, and we'll get to trades, and we'll get to the big acquisition for Win Reality coming up next. People liked this last time, so we're going to do it again. Read one of the fantastic, unique, creative dishes on HelloFresh. Creamy Alfredo truffle cavatappi pasta?
Cavatappi, maybe? But I'll just go with the Indian-inspired chicken paired with turmeric rice. That sounds awesome. Everything about this is delicious, fresh, comes in a little bag, and I like to cook, so I like to chop up the ingredients. I like to throw stuff in the pan, mix it up. It makes me feel like I'm doing something, Scott, and they always come out amazing.
Yes, you can be a star at home with America's #1 meal kit. Make your summer enjoyable and delicious by signing up for HelloFresh at HelloFresh.com/FT10FM and get 10 free meals with a free item for life. That's HelloFresh.com/FT10FM for 10 free meals and a free item in every box. 1 per box with an active subscription. Free meals are applied as a discount on the first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. All right, we're back with Dan O'Dowd. Let's get into trade talk for a few minutes here. I know we're a few weeks away from the trade deadline. So, Dan, would you call the Orioles the most disappointing team this season, and Mike Elias, their GM, the most popular guy coming up for the trade deadline?
Yeah, I'd say the Orioles. I mean, I picked them to win the division, so that shows you how smart I am. It's a really interesting question. I think that's kind of in a big picture. The story of the entire trading deadline for me is that which clubs are going to do what, separate from what their records telling them to do. And so, like, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe Ryan O'Hearn because he's a free agent at the end of the year. But I think what a GM's job, guys, amongst a lot of different things, is that you kind of always have to have a great feel for where your club is and why. And that then leads you to understand what you need to do with your current situation that can help with your future situation. And so the Orioles' decision for me is this is just a blip, one of those years where they take a step back to take a huge step forward. And then how do they line up better next year to take that huge step forward? So the easy decisions are, to move players like Zach Eflin, who's a free agent at the end of the year, and Ryan O'Hearn, who's a free agent at the end of the year, and then try to, augment. They're terrible against left-hand pitching, so they don't have a ton of right-handed bats. I'm not sure where all those right-handed bats are going to play, and their starting pitching is major to be concerned about. And so, I'm just really. So the answer should be yes, Scotty. I'm just not sure it's going to be that simple because I don't think in their mind they think they're a bad club, even though the record says that they are.
Okay, that makes sense. Here's another one for you, and obviously we can get your take on this situation because I'm curious. What do you think the Red Sox do? Right, they're 500-ish. They're actually worse than the Angels now after getting swept by them.
They screwed themselves with their comments after the Rafi Devers deal. I don't think they're a good team. I think the sum of their parts does not equal their bigger part. And so I think they should be sellers at the deadline because I do think they got good young talent. It's just had a difficult time transitioning to the big league level. But I think they should be looking to see, okay, does the Atlanta Braves have interest in Trevor Story? Maybe at a reduced salary rate, but maybe thinking there's a change of scenery and then they move Mayer back to his natural position at shortstop. I mean, they should be active. They've got enough talent to actively put themselves in a position to be a much better team next year than they are this year. It's just that when you come out publicly and you say, hey, listen, we're not taking a step back after the Devers deal. We're all in. We're going to try to win this year. I mean, your credibility with your fan base begins to erode to the point that it may not be salvageable if you keep going back on the things that you promise. And they've got a real issue with that.
Okay, so when they made that move, Dan, would you have done it then, or even despite the drama? If you really decided or you were instructed by ownership, I got to do this now, would you have waited until after the season? Because this team could have contended for a wild card spot. They got rid of their best bat.
Yeah, I would have waited to the offseason. I mean, I don't know the dynamics internally that were going on in the organization. I've been around the game a long time. I've had a couple players that were really disruptive, that caused problems, but I just never got to the point where I felt like it couldn't have been managed with the right set of manager and coaches within the clubhouse and the right set of leaders around them in the clubhouse. So I'm just perplexed by the whole thing. I don't even know how they ended up in the position they ended up with. That had to be such a breakdown in communication. And should he have moved to first base? Maybe should have. But, I think sometimes the front office, and I think that front office in particular, players aren't robots or human beings, and they need to be communicated to in an open and trustworthy way. How they respond to the news, you can't, that's not for you to decide, but you can be open and honest with them, and you can consistently tell them the truth. So when it does come down, they know that, whether they like the news or not, they were spoken to in a way that was respectful and direct. They did not do any of that.
What's surprising, Dan, is Craig Breslow is a former player. You would think that he would know that.
He doesn't act like one to me, AJ. It's perplexing to me. It's just it acts like a lot of current GMs, which is players are a part of a portfolio that they buy and sell, and trying to put the better value on the entire market value of the portfolio. And stocks are one way. Players are just not wired that way. And Rafi didn't handle it maturely, but I don't think the expectation was that you should have expected he was going to handle that maturely. But if they have flown to the DR and they had looked him in the eye and they have said, Listen, you're not a real good defender. We got a chance to sign Bregman or trade for Arenado. We're going to do that. So let's talk about what the transition is for you. I think they should have immediately put a first base glove on him. And I think Rafi should have recognized that his long-term value in the game, or even getting into the Hall of Fame someday, it creates way more value if he's playing a position than DHing. And so I don't know how it ever got to this point. I'm just totally perplexed by the whole thing.
Agreed. On the other end, though, Buster Posey is acting like a former player, and a former player
He
that's
is.
won and was brought up under Brian Sabian, who said, I have a chance to go for it. I'm going to go for it. So what does he do? He goes out and gets a player like Rafi Devers. And I love this move for the Giants because I think over the long haul, not only this year, but in the long haul, they have the star that they've been looking for, and they have a dude that possibly can hit them 30-plus homers, which they haven't had 20-plus years.
Yeah. And, it's funny. You read all the articles about it, and everybody's congratulating for Red Sox for getting out of all that future commitment because, he's going to decline over age. We just have this hypothesis within our game that every player who gets into their mid to late 30s is going to stink. Like they're all not created, differently, and they all don't have a unique set of skills, and they all look at the game differently, and their motivations are all differently. We just have this hypothesis that age regression is going to take place. So if you can get out of the money, you're better off. Well, there's no guarantee they're going to spend that money in a better way on players that fit ideally within the ages that everybody seems to covet within this game. And you have no idea what the future is going to hold. That's why you take everything in the game one day at a time, and you do your best each individual day. But you have no idea what's going to happen in the future. I find some of these, these statements just comical by people that really, for me, don't have a clue about what's going on in the game.
Yeah, I'm with you. There's some, anonymous people chiming in too in some of these stories like, oh, I can't believe they got such a return, the Red Sox. I'm like, yo, a bat in his prime who cost half the amount of Vladdy Jr. just got moved over to an NL West team from a big market Boston team. I'm like, sometimes, the am I winning every trade at every margin and the computer model kind of system that's going here, Dan? You know me, I worked with you for a while. Like I love a good look into, a team analytics wise and get deep into numbers, but sometimes you got to take a step back and be like, it's a top 10 bat in the sport.
Well, I think the perfect organization, Scotty, that are running the game combine the human analytical side of the game with the data side of the game, and they do that in every decision that they make. I think those are the best run organizations in the game because, the data tells you a predictable part of a player's past, but it doesn't predict what's going to happen in the future. I kind of look at it, it's like a GPS system. It gives you some directions on where you might go, but you may have to take more left or right turns to actually get to your destination. And I think the game is just really trended itself too much in one way and not enough in another way.
All right, so last one on the trade front. One team or one player. I'm sure you've already been talking a lot about trades that stands out to you.
Yeah,
Like, I really
it's
want
crazy
to
to
see this team
me.
do
The
this.
team that I think should be active is the Minnesota Twins. I watch them play and I go, man, they have talented players, but this just doesn't seem to add up. And so maybe because they're in the midst of a sale, maybe because I don't think the GM is hyper aggressive to do anything historically. But Brian Buxton's having a monster year, but he has never stayed healthy. Like, to me, it's the perfect time to look to move him with teams that are desperate for right-handed bats, desperate for center fielders at this trading deadline, with not a lot of offensive impact players available. And so, and I would look to move Joe Ryan. He's 29 years old. He's got 3 years of control. He'd be the most coveted pitcher in this year's deadline when nobody is available. And then I would look to move their closer. And I think he's got great arm. He's also cost control for 3 more years. And I realized, wow, that's going to really hurt them. And honestly, I probably try to eat as much money as I had to move Correa. I don't think he's going to be a good player in Minnesota. And so whether that's playing third base for the Yankees or shortstop for Atlanta, I think that experiment is just not going to work, and it's not going to get better any moving forward. I know none of this is probably going to happen, but if I'm running the Twins, I look at this trading deadline because of the really little available talent that's out there at this point in time. I would look to take advantage of these teams that think they're going to win that really aren't, and try to reboot my whole organization because that club now for 2 years it just hasn't worked.
Yeah, that's a great call. 13-game win streak, kind of smoke and mirrors in terms of what the record looks like. Because besides that little 2-week run, I mean, it does look like a subpar non-playoff team. So we'll see what happens there. All right, let's finish with this. So Win Reality, which you founded and you're a big part of for a long time, is the leading VR training tool for baseball and softball. Tons of major leaguers use it and then go down, minors, college, kids, etc. Right? Your company acquired swing sensor technology, Blast Motion. So I'll let you let us know how big that is for the world of baseball and tech training.
Yeah, we think it's gigantic, honestly. So we have 100 million swings analyzed within our platform at WinVR. They have 400 million, so a little over 400 million. So over 500 million data set now to work with, which gives us great insight. And though Blast was certainly a technology company, we're a baseball company. Blast will become a baseball company. It will be run separately in the short term. We'll see what happens over the long term. But if you think about what the capabilities they have with our VR training platform, Scotty, we have a new Swing AI product out that is killing the market. You know, to be able then to capture their ability to track bat path and contact point, that fits perfectly into our Win VR training, and then to take their blast motion biomechanical analysis that they've got, which is great, and put that into our Swing AI. We just have consolidated the industry dramatically, and now we have a chance to actually simplify things for the end user, and hopefully make it a much easier transition and process for everybody that wants to get better in the game of baseball, which is ultimately at the end of the day why we started the company and why we continue in this day, is to try to make players better. And though we have to do it via technology, I mean, people think we're a tech company, but we really aren't. We're baseball men utilizing a tech back platform, trying to figure out how to do some of the things in the game that are really hard to do at all ages and simplify it.
I remember when this came on when reality came on the scene. God, I guess it was over COVID when we started using it.
Yeah.
In Kansas City, and now with this, I mean, it's got to be just exploding with youth baseball, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. Whit, our product is basically all in the youth space. Blast Motion is really just all in major league teams and in colleges, and they have a great golf product too. We certainly are going to take that downstream itself into the youth market too, where there's just 50 million users that aren't being tapped. And so we think there's an unbelievable opportunity for us, because it's a really good product, to downstream that, hold on to the big league team. I think 27 out of 30 teams use Blast. I think there's 300 colleges that's fully onboarded into their system. So we think it's a great opportunity, because we've now figured out, I don't know if we figured it out, we're still in the process of learning how to actually capture that youth baseball base. And so we'll put some of our best practices into trying to take that downstream. I mean, we have other things, guys, that we're still looking. There's one other company that we're still looking at acquiring too, that will help us fill another bucket. Just trying to consolidate a very unique space within the game that's, trying to organize it in a way that just makes it a lot easier for people to use and understand why they're using it.
It's very cool. Obviously, I've been a big fan for a long time. Congratulations on the acquisition.
Yeah,
thanks for letting us know about it, Dan. And we'll be following all of that. AJ obviously too knows that scene well, with his son now transitioning to the college game. So thanks for sharing, Dan. Appreciate it. Congrats again.
Yeah, great,
and
guys. Hey, thanks for having me on, and I wish you the best of luck as you go through the trading day. It should be a fun time of year for you.
Thank you. Of course.
Thanks,
this
Dan.
was great. Good to see you, Dan.
Okay, see you guys. Bye-bye.
See ya. FT fan, be right back. We'll do grades first half AL. All right, a little BetMGM lock action. Nice hit, AJ. Plus 271 last night on the Mets getting a dub, and Gore going over on his K prop.
Duh. I mean, the Mets were due, and Mackenzie Gore got 6, just enough.
Yeah. Gore's had a really sneaky good year. The strikeout numbers are off the charts for him this season. So do you want to cook up something for us today? You and me. Wow. That's probably the first time ever. You and me exactly tied 80 apiece on the negative side in the red. We can flip that tonight, and Pap is up 218. He lost yesterday, but he's been really good. Pap's been pretty solid this year. What do you got tonight?
I'm just better than you, Scott, even though the numbers don't say it. I'm going parlay. Kershaw under 15 and a half outs in Colorado. I just think he's going to go 5. They're going to go to their bullpen like they always do. And then I'm going over 5.5 strikeouts for Grant Holmes against the Mets. He's got that curveball going. The Mets can strike out in bunches, and that gets me to plus 185. So tomorrow I'll be up 105.
Boom. There you go. I like it. Whit, you want to do yours?
Yeah, I got Matt Olson over 1.5 total bases, facing Canning tonight. Canning spins it down the zone. Olson's swing is just perfect for that, and he's been swinging it well. He's got a hot bat going right now, so I like him to put a barrel on one, get it in the gap, and I think after that, I think his first at bat, he'll hit a double or a homer, and it'll be easy money.
So we submit our picks to our producer extraordinaire, and guess what? I'm not exactly the same, but pretty close. And I don't do player props often. I mostly pick money lines, run lines, over unders. But since there's one game, I'm like, all right, I don't know who's going to win this one. I'm going to go the player side. I went Matt Olson over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, which is different. So I'm minus 120. Witt's at plus 120, but basically just verbal retweet what Whit said just now. And he's also cleared the line that I'm going for in 5 of 6 games against the Mets this year too. So Olson's had a good run against them. I like that. Great minds. Just so everyone knows, you can swing daily for a shot to win when you play the BetMGM Swing for the Fences game. Free to play little video game on the BetMGM app. Go check it out. Score bonuses and boost tokens. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. We are diving into grading systems next in the American League. Which team's got an A, B, C, D, F? In the weeds, let's hit some grades halfway through the season for the American League. We'll cover National League a different day. And we're going off of CBSSports.com, putting an article together because we like to at least see a list from another publication and then comment on some parts that we like, some that we maybe don't like. AJ, from the grades that you're looking at right now, I think I can see one that stands out to you. They've got the White Sox receiving a B, and I'll give you a little bit of context before you probably let it rip. They said, yep, they're terrible, but they basically were saying how you could make a case that they were expected to be even worse than their record-breaking season last year. They did ditch Garrett Crochet, and they pointed to some players that could be a part of the core of next, a better White Sox team. So they said better than expected on the field, plus young players establishing themselves is a B for them.
I would have gone C at the most. Yes, there are some nice young players. They've made some good trades, but when you're trading assets like Garrett Crochet, you better get good players back, right? They're also on pace for 52 wins this year. 52. I mean, that's better than 41 like they won last year, but they're still on pace to lose 110 games. So, where there's some bright spots you can look at and say, okay, well, they this and that. But again, like I said, going into the year, they were never going to be as bad as they were last year because they set the all-time record last year. I think a C is where they're at because they haven't had the development. Luis Robert hasn't had the development. Now Miguel Vargas has gotten better, but some other guys haven't had the development. Andrew Vaughn's gone now. Who's supposed to be a big part of this team. So yes, where I see the upgrades, I also think it's too early to judge. And I mean, a C, it would have been average because they weren't going to be as bad as they were last year. I'm sorry, they just weren't. It couldn't have gone as wrong as it went.
Wait, I'll throw some other grades out there and then let me know one that you either really like or don't like. They've got the Angels with a B, the A's with a D, the Orioles with an F, the Red Sox with a C, the Guardians get a C, the Royals get a C, the Angels get a B, the Mariners get a C, Rays get an A, Jays get a B, Rangers get a C, Astros get an A.
I'll touch on the Orioles. I think, well, before I do that, I do want to touch on the White Sox and give a shout out to Shane Smith. And I think that's a big reason why they might have gotten a B, because you find someone like that who is could be your front end starter kind of out of nowhere. I think that's a good find. He was my brother's college roommate, so I'm a little biased, but he's a stud. So nice job, Shane. Keep shoving. But the Orioles, yeah, I mean, what a disappointment. But at the same time, I think that's just that's why baseball is such a volatile sport. It just varies year by year. You just don't know what's going to happen year by year, and that's why I have such a big problem with a lot of teams going all in for the future. And I get there's you got to play for the future a little bit and have some guys coming up, but you don't know what's going to happen year by year. I mean, the Orioles were a front runner this year, and guys aren't playing well, and that's what happens in baseball. So that's why I'm always such a big component on if you have a chance to win, go and win this year, because you never know what's going to happen next year. The Orioles, looking back on last year, probably wish they would have made a couple more moves to put themselves in a better chance to move forward and move forward in the playoffs. So yeah, I think an F is a proper grade for them.
Yeah, I'll give
A's
you
are an
one.
F.
That
A's are an F for me too, because
Yeah,
they were
they're
supposed to be better. Their second half last year was great. To me, they're an F. But you know what? Why they're an F? I don't want to put this on the players. The players aren't playing great. The situation is an F. Sacramento has been an F. What they've had to deal with has been an F. The players are starting to pop off about it. So to me, it's not really. I mean, it's a whole organizational grade, and that's why they would be an F for me. As well as the players could handle this, it's an impossible situation they're in.
The Astros get an A, and I'm with them on that one from CBS handing that out. Yordan Alvarez hasn't played since May 2nd. He's still out with that hand injury. I guess you could ding them a grade, maybe give them an A- because they haven't handled that injury well, and medical staff is part of your team or whoever's making those calls. But Altuve had a slow start. Now he's picked it up. Really got Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez, who were awesome, but a ton of injuries and question marks in the back end of the rotation, and yet they lose Bregman, Whit. They lose Kyle Tucker. They look like they're going to win the division. I know there's a long way to go, but it's a pretty impressive record for what they've dealt with in the first half of the year.
Yeah, for sure. And the big piece they got in Christian Walker is hasn't even gotten hot yet, and so I think I think they're in a good spot. And I think when some of these pieces start coming back, you get Yordan back, you get some guys playing better, then you get Walker going. It's going to be a tough team for anybody in the West to compete with.
Yeah. What about the Jays? They gave them B. I thought that was pretty fair. I mean, Jimenez and Santander have done almost nothing offensively, especially Santander compared to what he did a year ago. Yet they're balling. We talked to Daulton Varsho recently here, and starting to see the pop come back for Bo. Are you buying what the Blue Jays are selling here?
They're a fun team. They're a lot of fun to watch, and I think a B is probably a proper grade, and it's only because of those two guys that you mentioned not playing the way they can play. You got Bo's playing good, Vladdy's playing good, George is back to playing like George. Dalton's been great when Dalton's been able to be in the lineup. Kirky's playing awesome. A guy like Heineman who's killing it as the backup catcher. Ernie Clement's having just a dynamite year. Like, you just go, all those guys they're doing their part. Addison Bargers came out of nowhere and had some really big hits for him. So yeah, I think if you got Jimenez and Santander to do it, that have done, if they would have done anything to this point, really, it'd be an easy A for me.
AJ, one more for you. The C's that were given out. Any that you think should be higher or lower? Guardians C, Mariners C, Rangers C.
No, because they all have problems. The Rangers can't hit. They've been pitching better. Their bullpen we kind of thought was going to be a mess. The Mariners, listen, if it wasn't for Cal Raleigh, they could be a D because he's carried them. It's just a lot of these are easy because expectations are put on teams. And by the way, the Astros should be an A because what they've done with Jeremy Pena, they've turned him into one of the best players in the game. The growth he's shown, along with some other guys. I mean, listen, Joe Espada has done a great job with those Astros. So listen, C's are easy to give out, but I mean, right now we're halfway there. Let's reevaluate here in about the end of July when the trade deadline hits. Then we'll really see. Because what grade did the Twins get?
I don't know. Hold on. I don't think I wrote that one down. But probably not great. I mean, like I mentioned, aside from that 13-game win streak, C. They got a C.
See, okay, my question is, and I'll be quick on this, but Carlos Correa keeps coming out and saying we're not prepared. What does that mean? What does that mean? Wait, as a player, we're not prepared. Our preparation's not great. Everyone prepares for games different ways. Every player prepares a different way. I guarantee you, I prepared different than the way Whit prepared, the way Todd Frazier prepared, the way Eric Kratz prepared, the way Ross Stripling prepares. So how can you look at everybody and say, oh, they all need to prepare like Carlos Correa? Well, he prepares, I guarantee you, differently than I prepared. But I went out and performed as best I could every night, and he's doing the same thing. So I don't know. I think to me they could have been a little bit lower.
Yeah, I wonder if he's clashing with some guys behind the scenes that, he's trying to push and they're like, yo, I'm not seeing the prep the same way you are. I wonder if there's a bigger story to that. Yeah, Carlos is intense. But anyway, topic for another day. If you think we missed on any of these or CBS did, let us know in the comments if you're checking this out after the fact. Otherwise, be right back with Slap. Hey, we're going to Vegas, FT road trip. This might be an invitation for Whit next time around. Gary Sheffield, Andrew Jones, AJ Kratz and myself, plus Dellin Betances, Dexter Fowler, Kevin Pillar, and Colton Wong. Some recent retirees joining us on the Big League live stream. It's going to be fun. It was off the rails last time. You get, have an adult beverage if you're of age, and then get to watch these guys go at it in a poker tournament. AJ is the first time and defending champ, so we'll see if Dellin Betances can take him down, as Betances is the favorite. He's probably like -1. No, he's probably like, maybe. What do you think, AJ? What would you put Dellin at? -120?
Yeah, him, and you know who else I think is going to be sneaky is Dexter, because Dexter lives in Vegas. So I feel like he's going to have a little bit of an advantage. He's going to know all the tells and all that stuff, because he probably does this more than the rest of us. But yeah, I mean, Betances does this professionally. I mean, he plays in all these tournaments, so he's a tough one. And Kratz plays online. He's not as good in person because Kratz gives his cards away. I can't tell what his tell is, but he gives his cards away.
He smiles. Whit, do you play?
I do play. I'm bummed I couldn't go this year, but I hope that next year I get the invite, because I'd love to be there.
Yeah, it should be fun. So anyway, we'll be playing in some of the other tournaments around there too in Vegas. We'll be flying out on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll do the show from Vegas.
We could have got Whit a nice golf round at a place called Shadow Creek, which is not terrible either.
Not a bad
nice
spot.
Course out there. Hey, 1 minute to go till we're back for the TV crowd too. Max Muncy picked up 6 RBIs yesterday, 4 from a granny and 2 from Mother Nature, or just the Rockies being the Rockies. Which one, AJ?
I mean, these are the 2 greatest RBIs of Max Muncy's career. I'm sorry. The fact that everyone was leaving, there's 2 outs, like, we got to finish this, and he hits a pop-up that doesn't go. I don't even know if this goes, 100 feet maybe? Second baseman's like, I got it. Nope, I don't. And then the best is the first baseman never sees it, almost hits him on top of his dome. And that they got to give it a hit because nobody saw it, and it's 2 RBI knock. Max, next time you come on, the greatest 2 RBIs of your life, of your career, happened, right? I mean, look, it almost hits totally in the head, and then they bring the tarp out. But thank you if you're Max Muncy.
It's the greatest RBIs ever.
Yeah, as if the Rockies needed an excuse to give up a couple more runs. And it's just been that kind of year.
Whitfield, congrats on retirement, dude. Incredible career. It was a pleasure calling you a teammate in Philly. Had a lot of good times on and off the field. And speaking of off the field, I know you're going to be getting a lot of new golf memberships here soon, and I can't wait to mooch off every single one of them. Push that handicap down a little bit more so I can get some more strokes on that golf game and steal your money. Enjoy your time with your family in retirement. And I know I'll be seeing you around soon. Congrats, dude.
Hey, 2-hit Whit, retiring. Damn. Hey, you know what they say? Can't teach shark's blood. Can't teach it. And you got it. Congrats on retiring. What a career. Been a privilege to play against you. Been a privilege to play with you. You're a baseball player. No other way to put it. And, you're going out because you choose to, not because you have to. Enjoy time with your family. You always got a fan in me. Need anything? Reach out. Enjoy life after baseball, my dude. Peace.
Whitfield, hey man, I want to say congratulations on retirement. Just want to say thank you for everything, man. Thank you for being you. Thank you for all the great stories, all the smack talk, all the laughs, all the golf. You're one-on-one, man. Appreciate you. Thank you for being you. You enjoy the time off with your family. Look forward to getting back out there on the course with you. You work on your putting stroke a little bit, but I'll see you out there again. Enjoy it, man. Congratulations again. Enjoy your family. See you soon.
Whitley, this is your pal, Matt Chapman here. Just wanted to wish you a happy retirement, buddy, from the show. You're about as big league as they come, as pro as they come, buddy. It was a pleasure playing with you in the good old Canadian land. I wish you the best of luck in whatever you do after baseball. Enjoy being with your family. Enjoy all of it. I love you, buddy. Hell of a career. And I fully expect that golf game to pick up now. All right.
How do you like that? Wow, that was a big league. Congrats on retirement from some friends, Whit.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, still getting called Whitfield after all these years. Still can't get my name right. But no, that was great. That was special, and appreciate you guys doing that. That was nice.
How much did we pay for those guys to do that though? It's like Cameo where they got to pay.
Had to
pay these guys each per person.
Mm-hmm. They're pricey. Those are some of those guys have some 9-figure contracts on their resume.
Those are obviously the ones I sucked up to, right? You got to schmooze with the big dogs. You don't want to pay for dinner. We lose you.
Sorry, I muted myself. There was a big difference between Stubbs, Phillies backup catcher, at the start of that, saying how he's going to mooch off your golf memberships, and then I think everyone else after that has gotten 100+ mil in career earnings or on a contract. So the rest of them weren't as concerned about the golf membership payment.
No, I think they're good. They're good.
Yeah, they're in good shape.
I'll be tagging along on their ride.
What'd you think today? Did you have a good time?
Yeah, great time. Thank you all for having me. And hey, I'm around. So if you want to do it again, give me a shout.
Yeah, this was fun. FT fam, hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back tomorrow. Fraser Friday. AJ, safe travels. You survived doing a show from an international airport.
Yes. That was electric.
Cruise. I've done it on cruise ship, international airports. I'm all over the place.
And a perfect way to go out here as the bathroom door opens one last time. You can say bye to AJ. We'll see AJ on Monday in Vegas. We'll have all those guys we talked about, like Chef and Dexter and whatever, joining us on the show. Todd and Kipnis with us on tomorrow's show. Spencer Schwellenbach and Rosenthal. Guest list stays hot. See you then.